The Second World War or World War II was a global conflict that transpired between the years 1939 and 1945 that escalated from Nazi Germany hostile expansionism toward neighboring European nations and secret transgressions on human rights of Jewish people after Adolf Hitler's rise to power. The war involved approximately 70 countries, divided into two major factions, the Allies and the Axis, Nazi alliances. Such massive armed clashes between opposing forces directly and indirectly led to catastrophic perishments of more than 70 million people, including nearly 50 million military personnel. The war concluded in a victorious factions for the Allies, and in contrast, a deplorable defeat for the Axis.
The Russian-Ukrainian War, or a major Western media outlets call it the Russian invasion of Ukraine, is an ongoing regional armed territorial dispute between Russia and Ukraine, gutted from the smoldering precursor Russo-Ukrainian War. The number of cause states vary from different reported sources, but it is safe to estimate about 10 to 20,000 people have deceased, comprising civilian and troops from both sides. The war is not finished, with deal, negotiation, and peace initiation proposed throughout the year, though not much progress has been made.
Saving Private Ryan, written by Max Allan Collins and published in 1998, is a classic piece of literature about World War II. The novel tells the harsh reality of war through unique points of view of soldiers participating in battles and brutal descriptive depictions of war via the use of explicit language. The main plot revolves around the story of Captain Millers and his squad enduring the hardship and bloodiness of World War II and during their mission to save Private Ryan. The main story at all, everything from being surrounded by death compressed on D-Day, having watched their brother in arms slowly taking their last breath while not able to do anything, to finally laying their beloved and respected leader to his eternal rest.
The novel also demonstrates the complexity and the volatility of the character's emotion and thought processes during the time of war, where insanity might seem sane and sanity might seem insane.
It may seem like a no-brainer to say that the two wars are different from each other on a macro-political scale, because they are. Everything from the motives, the backgrounds, and the purposes, the causes, and the temporal differences to the ultimate goals of those who wield decisive power. However, from the perspective of the soldier, they are the same objectives they have to carry out, that to kill another human being, to serve the interests of their states, regardless of which side is right or wrong, the same responsibilities they are obligated to, that to sacrifice and always be ready to sacrifice for the illusionary sense of common good of their motherlands, which is called patriotism. The same duties that they have to accomplish, that to obey the higher rankings and do what they are told, even if it means conducting questionable acts and committing atrocious war crimes, whatever to obtain the upper hand to win wars against their fellow humans called enemies. The meaning and the values of war have never changed for the soldiers on the front line. War means killing, dying, and obeying orders. Maybe the values reside in the outcome of a war. If they win, then the war their government waged was an honorable murdering operation and justified, and they become heroes. If they lose, then the war their government waged was a shameful murdering project and unjustified, and they become demonized villains in human history. Or maybe not. But for the soldiers do not and never did have a choice. They simply fall in line with preconceived notions about patriotism propagated by the states deep in their minds, and believe what they do is right, and they go on and fight.
Saving Private Ryan did a brilliant job of portraying how soldiers feel about war and cope with their emotions through obvious, yet subtle, bold, and empathetic storytelling. The Normandy landing, or D-Day for more historical accuracy in particular, stood out the most in the novel when talking about the massive scale of brutality and ruthlessness of war. They breathed in airs as the ears filled with the sounds of Omaha Beach, shells exploding, men screaming, gunfire, machine gun bullets hitting the sand. Hundreds of dead soldiers covered the beach. Others, wounded, moved around in pain and fear. The sound of wounded and dead men filled the air. Mama, mother, mom. Still, the machine gun and mortar fire continued, and the casualties increased. Here, the soldiers are dying to fulfill their responsibility of sacrificing themselves for their country or the common good of fighting against the evil Nazi. And now that common good, in retrospect, is a fact widely conceived and accepted by historians and the public. That is because the Americans and Allies were the winner of World War II. But what if the case were reversed? What if the Nazis won and took power? Would that nullify the meaningfulness of the sacrifice made by the American and Allied soldiers? Would the common good still be about fighting against the Nazi? Just some food for thought. But more importantly, from the soldier's perspective, in any circumstances, nevertheless, which side wins or loses on the battlefield between life and death, the soldier care about the common good anymore. As they are being liberated by machine guns, relentless mortar, and mine as every step they take with their feet, or that they merely want to survive and live another day to see their moms and dads and wife. The light, the sound of wounded and dead men fill the air. Mama, mother, mom is the clearest summary for us. The soldiers no longer care about anything such as nations, justice, or the common good, or even the Nazi when they are at their last breath. Rather, they love ones and their wishes to survive. That is the only time when soldiers truly know the true value of war, death, or alive, and nothing more than that. A small conversation ensued between Mellish, Raven, and Wade, three members of Captain Miller's SWAT. I don't have any trouble shooting Germans, Mellish says. Killing a man is killing a man, Wade says. It doesn't matter what he looks like. There's never been a German who would anything, Raven observed. They're all stupid and always have been. It's in their blood. Here we can see that these two soldiers were having conflicting opinions about killing their enemies. It, in some ways, metaphorically reflects the conception of a soldier in a war, split into dimensions, similar to the angel and the devil on the soldier, or we can imagine it that way. Mellish and Raven would be the devil, with the goals aligned with the common objective of a soldier in war, to kill for their country. Then Wade would be the angel, the keeper of one's sanity and humanity in time of desperation. The devil perceives taking lives as a means of necessity in war, disregarding the fact that their enemies they kill are still fellow human beings with ambitions and hopes no more less than the soldier, just opposing ideologies. But the devil in the social minds cope with the killing by labeling those human beings as enemies, and thus killings are subconsciously justified. It being framed this way, then such killings seem to be very senseless and selfish, a devilish thing indeed. But does that make the angel morally correct? Killing a man is still killing a man. It doesn't matter what he looks like, as says by way the supposed angel or the soldier. But what if the man being referred to here is the same man that killed many of the soldiers' fellow teammates and allied friars, and is probably about to murder the soldier too. What would the soldier do? Letting the enemies, the Nazi, live and treat them like humans, knowing the crime that they did to your fellow comrade, and just to satisfy your moral high ground. This is the predicament a soldier has to fight and deal with on the battlefield, and in general, war. A few lines spoken by Captain Miller. We're not here to do decent things. We're here to follow orders. You're here to follow the orders. Our goal is to win the war, private. Here, 2 million words. Another value that a soldier can derive from war is about fulfilling duties, regardless of whether they like it or not. Whatever orders are given out by the commanding officer and those situated higher on the authority hierarchy, the soldier has no choice but to comply and follow. Whatever consequence the orders might entail, whatever cause the orders might sell for, and whatever tragedy the orders might lead to, the choice is not up to the soldier, but rather up to whatever the higher-ups dictate them to do. There is no such thing as choice to a soldier in war.
The following are a few excerpts from eavesdropped conversations, leaked radio contacts, interviews, and so forth, and stories were recorded and retrieved by the media outlets as testimonial evidence pertaining to Ukrainians and Russian soldiers. These testimonies might give everybody a peek at what is going on in the war, and also thought-provoking insights regarding what the soldiers think about the war. As Le Monde, a leading French news journal, reported what the Ukrainian soldiers on the front line were thinking about the ongoing bloodbath they are involved in, which one of them said, "After going through all the stages of fear, I've understood that I'm nothing, just a living body." Some phone calls between Russian soldiers and their families were intercepted and recorded, reported by the Associated Press. When our commander warned us we would be shot, 100%, he warned us that although we would be bombed and shot at, our aim was to get through. We shot from the tanks, machine guns, and rifles. There were dead bodies lying around and burning. We don't imprison them. We kill them all. We will kill if we have to. Another Ukrainian soldier shared his story to Geneva Solutions, a non-profit human rights journal platform. Here, for us, it's already World War III. Some more intercepted Russian conversations reported by the Associated Press. If this doesn't stop, then soon we'll be leading the Ukrainians to the Kremlin ourselves. As long as we are needed here, we will carry out our task. I imagine that there, on the other side, there could be young people just like us, and they have their whole lives ahead of them. Bones, tears, all the same. They're the same as we are. So we had to follow orders, whether we wanted to or not. The New York Times also published an article re-narrating a story retrieved from a Russian soldier. Then I understood everything. I am heading for death. The morning came. There were only corpses from before. Corpses. Only corpses. Different wars, different soldiers, different stories. Same duties, same responsibilities, same objectives. Death or alive, kill or be killed, obeying orders, sacrificing themselves for the common good of the side they're fighting for. We shot from the tanks, machine guns and rifles, and there were dead bodies lying around and burning. I see no different than the dead corpses on D-Day as described in Saving Private Ryan. The soldiers died to complete their responsibilities, that to sacrifice in exchange for patriotic status, to defend the ideologies and politics of their states, their motherlands. But do those things matter anymore as they're taking their last breath, as their bodies being mutilated and disintegrated by mines and bombs and bullets, just like the soldiers in World War II? It is only about surviving or being killed that matters the most to them. The rest are merely trivial and redundant. We don't imprison them, we kill them all. We will kill if we have to, are the two quotes from two Russian soldiers that resonate the most with the mentality and thought process of Melish and Rabin in Saving Private Ryan. These soldiers view killing as part of war and that their enemies deserve to perish. It may seem as inhumane as one can make it out to be, but to the soldiers, they do not have any choice. Killing is the mandatory objective that they have to carry out. They have to abide to the rules and orders their state has given them for the sake of patriotism, as said best by another Russian soldier. So we had to follow orders whether we wanted to or not. They have to comply even if they do not want to kill or die in a war waged by a few powerful men dressed in suits sitting in an air-conditioned room. No matter which side is right or wrong, killing and dying will always remain as the ultimate destiny of a soldier and the only values a soldier can see in war. However, we also have other soldiers who are conscious of the reality of the senseless killing they participate in, resembling Wade in Saving Private Ryan. One Russian soldier confessed, "I imagine that there, on the other side, there could be young people just like us, and they have their whole lives ahead of them. Bones, tears, all the same. They are the same as we are. Indeed, their enemies are still fellow human beings with a soul and a bleeding body. So it is never justified to put down another human being. But in war, does it matter anymore? What if that human being is the same man who just savagely massacred your comrades in a battle? The soldier has to make a choice, and in war, it probably is to kill. And why killing? Probably because of revenge, probably because of duty, or both, or simply because they must kill to live and see another day. But again, what about morals? This is the same predicament a soldier in World War II has to face, a soldier in the Russian-Ukrainian war has to face, a soldier in regardless of whichever war they are fighting in has to eventually face. A soldier will never be able to escape the cycle of killing and death, regardless of their moral standards or how much humanity is within their hearts, as long as war still exists.
So, what is the meaning of war to a soldier? To us, it is solely about killing and dying for a greater cause or a common good. And it would imply that a soldier is nothing more than a pre-programmed machine that only knows about fulfilling objectives.
Those are the only value a soldier can derive from war. It's a very pessimistic, but it's the truth. A little.
The cycle of killing and dying is the only thing that matters the most in war to a soldier. It's an inescapable predicament.
To kill or be killed, to serve and to sacrifice, regardless of whether the side they are fighting for is right or wrong.